All right, cool. So we're going to continue off where Tyson left off, and we're going to talk about nurturing signups to sale with automation. And I'm going to walk you through in Autopilot how to do this, but I thought I'd start off sort of similar to Tyson did about why we created Autopilot, what we do, and how you can use Autopilot to really take over. So if we just recap a little bit, we've been able to sponsor some content on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever the preferred channel is. We've now given them some information of value. Maybe they didn't identify themselves by filling in a form at that point. And then the next piece is really about retargeting them and getting them interested in Dog Today again. And so at some point they're going to identify and say, hey, I'm interested in acquiring myself some cute puppies. And really, after they fill in the form, a lot of us are guilty of it. I'm guilty of it myself. Fill in the form, you get an email notification, or you start to build a database, and then you think one day I'm going to contact those people and email them, and just hope they sign up and figure out my application or the product or service that I'm selling. So Autopilot for us really started about building other companies and needing tools that could work with a number of different applications. We were always big believers in utilizing a large amount of applications, and it's why we tie in and work so seamlessly with Instapage today, because our philosophy was a little bit different to everyone out there, where everyone tries to build these all-in-one marketing platforms, and while for some marketers they're great and they really suit them, you end up with a bunch of features that are very difficult to, that are probably not the best features. So you end up with an average landing page builder and a whole bunch of average things. And we really like the idea, or I like the idea as a marketer, of being able to utilize a number of different technologies. And I would always go to my brother, who's one of my co-founders and our CTO, and say, Chris, I want to use this service, and wouldn't it be good if I could send like 1 million SMS to like everyone in Australia? And wouldn't it be great? And I would come up with all of these ideas, and I would always think about it in terms of these marketing journeys. And this was later reinforced by watching customers actually sketch up what they wanted. When Chris and I were working as consultants, they would draw on whiteboards and say, I want to connect this to this. And we recently did this webinar with Zapier, which a lot of you might be familiar with, and Wade sort of had this similar thing. He was working as a consultant, and they were trying to connect APIs together. But really, for us, what we wanted to do was allow you to build this better experience, and we didn't want you to be limited by channels just like email. We wanted you to be able to deploy marketing and messaging anywhere. And so we created Autopilot, and it's an easy and visual way to automate customer journeys. And I'll show you beyond that sort of metaphorical message there how this actually works. But it's going to allow us to control the experience of those Dog Today customers or prospects once they actually convert on the form. So before I begin, I just wanted to get a show of hands. How many of you have had experience with any form of marketing automation software in the audience? So quite a few. Has anyone had no experience and they've used email marketing though? You can also put up your hand.
There's like a follow-up email series?
Yeah, just like a follow-up email series. Okay, cool. So I did want to start off with the why, because I think marketers get hit down a lot for why you should actually do this. So we actually did some research quite some time ago to sort of validate all these assumptions we had about marketers, and the marketers we spoke to actually said they all felt like they could be doing a better job of staying in touch with their customers. And I'm sure everyone in this audience probably feels the same way. I do at times as well, that I could be doing a better job of staying in touch with the people that matter to me and my business all the time. The other thing we learned was that people who communicate more frequently generate twice as many leads, and those people said as well they generated twice as much revenue from implementing automation, which is really exciting. So by communicating more frequently with our customers, we get a better result. It's pretty simple. And I always say to people, what's that Dropbox moment with our product? And our product really is all about, you have this database of customers, you need to communicate with them, you need to be personalized and targeted and really relevant in those communications, and that's what it's going to allow you to do. Every person who fills in that form is going to be at a different point in their journey. They might have read a few of the great benefits of adopting a dog, but they also might be confused about the process. So really we want to change the journey based on that particular person. And I'm going to show you how to do that and some simple ways of doing it. And we can, you know, if for the more advanced people in the audience, I'm happy to talk about more advanced ways as well. So we know that consumers hate generic marketing, we all hate it. Every night, if I turn on the television, I still pay for Autopilot, I'm not sure why. And they have ads and they're so untargeted to me. It's like, buy baby formula. I'm like, I have dogs, so it's not very relevant. And it frustrates me that it's like 2015 and we can't really have this beautiful personalized marketing and create experiences that are really meaningful to people. So I'm going to just jump in, and again, you can apply the techniques I'm going to show you in any application that you want to use. Just like Tyson said, this is definitely not a pitch for the product. It's more just, these are really the things you should be doing. You shouldn't be putting all of this money and effort into acquiring these leads and then sort of just like letting them all slip through the cracks. You might build 2 communications, but you know, it generally takes about 7 to 10 touches before you'll actually convert someone into a product. So the objective with Dog today is after they sign up, we want to get them to verify. So verification in our fictitious business is going to be a really important step, and then we want to get them to order a dog. So these are sort of just our goals, but this journey could take different paths along the way as well. So if you do want to follow along, you're more than welcome to. And so I've got Tyson's web. This is definitely the right page wherever he is. So this is the web page. So man's best friend now delivered, order yours in less than a minute. So obviously we're going to typically say we're interested, we'll fill in the form, and then what happens? So generally people build an autoresponder that says, thanks for filling out form, we'll be in touch about Dog today, or you know, go and follow these steps. But we're going to do something a little bit different today. So we're going to jump into Autopilot, and I'm going to stay pretty focused on creating journeys today, but really what Autopilot will allow you to do is import all of your contacts, and you can do them through various forms. If you use Salesforce, you can easily connect that up, or if you use other CRMs, you can use Zapier as well. So the first step is really with Autopilot, get the data in there so we can learn all we can about the contacts in your database, and then you create journeys for them. So we actually have created this guidebook, and the guidebook has categorizations of all of the different types of marketing automation, or what we like to call customer journeys that you might want to build out over time. So everything from a simple running an event, and we use these journeys to organize today, to newsletters, to customer onboarding, to call to action. So all of these available, they've actually got copy in them and assets as well, so you can actually see exactly how we've curated these, and you just click into them and click use guide, and it'll just input all of the assets and build out the journey for you, and then you can go in and edit it and it's ready to go. So that's a really easy way to get started if you're unfamiliar with it. So, but we're going to today go ahead and create this new journey for Dog today, and so I'm going to do the Tyson thing here. Okay. Stop working. Hello. Alright, so in Autopilot, we're going to build this out with what we call triggers, actions, and conditions. So I'm going to show you a really basic example today, but I'm happy to have some audience participation. So if you have particular questions that relate to your company and how you would change the journey, we can go right ahead and jump into that. So we have on the right-hand side here, triggers, actions, and conditions. And one of the things when Guy and I first met, I showed him the product and he said, Mike, I feel like with this product you can create earthquakes from basements. So we're going to try and create some really meaningful marketing after our Dog Today website today. So we want to start this particular journey with a form submitted trigger. So the trigger is really just looking for, you know, what event can we key off. We also have integrations directly with an API. So if you tie your app in directly, you can key off things that happen in an application, Salesforce, Segment if you're familiar with that as well, and a whole bunch of other triggers like our own smart segmentation technology that allows you to profile audience members in your database, target them, and then market to them. So we'll drag our form submitted trigger in here, and then we have our actions below. And actions are really just a form of communication. It can be a delay timer, and we have some different integrations in here with things like Optimizely and Slack if you want to notify your team internally. We do it here at Autopilot, so every time we even get a sign up, we have this crazy Slack channel with just sign up after sign up after sign up. And it's a really cool way of just eyeballing and seeing the live activity in our business as well. So the form submitted trigger, and then with our journey, we all know in here we might have the responder email, so we'll add an email action in here. We recently released in-product messaging as well. So on the website, if you think this through, right, so we fill in the form, and we know the next step of the journey is we need them to get verified, but every landing page and website really is very much reliant on the fact that now you're going to go check your inbox. And we all know that our inboxes are crowded and flooded with messages, and so if you think about it, you might go home and you see your dogs or your kids, and you get distracted and you're like, oh, I forget what I signed up to or about that service. So this message will come up in context, and it will try and nudge them towards our next objective in the journey, which is to get them to verify. So we'll draw out an object like here for that as well. And so then I'm also going to send an SMS to them because I want them to download our app. So I'm going to send them a download link for the SMS as well. And then what I want to do is add a delay step here. And we have these outcome wheels on the shapes. And the outcome wheels allow you to change the journey based on any of the outcomes of that shape. So in email here we have if they open or unsubscribe, we can continue the journey. So the next step is we're going to wait only 1 day, and the reason we're going to wait 1 day is we know at Dog Today in the first 3 days if someone doesn't activate their account and buy that they're never going to do it. So it's really important we communicate with them as frequently as we can in those first few days, and that's probably true with a lot of people in this room. Those first 3 to 4 days are really, really critical. At that point we're going to use a condition. Now I'm going to use a sort of cheat tactic here today to show you a journey that you can follow along with. But in the case of Dog Today, we would do this a little bit more advanced usually. So what we're going to do is check the first email that we sent, and this is the first time we'll actually change the journey. So based on them interacting with our communication and showing interest, excellent. Okay. Slight technical problem. We should do that. Cool. So at this point, as I said, we're going to change the journey. So we have a condition here. And so what this is going to do is after 1 day, it's going to check the first email, and we'll say if they've never opened the email, we're going to send them one type of follow-up communication. And if they have clicked on the email, we know they're interested. So we're going to accelerate our journey because we really want them to order a dog here. So this is just a really simple journey how we'll start off with. The one last thing I will add is I'll actually add them to a list, and I'll just call this list, like signups. And the reason I'm adding them to a list, and I don't have to do this, I can retrofit this later and look up all the people who signed up with this form, but the reason I want to do that is because I just like to be organized and store them, so it's just a personal preference in the application here. So let's track our form. Now we wanted to make this experience dead simple. You can use any forms with Autopilot, pretty much any forms. Some forms that are written in strange ways, it's very hard to use this form capture technology with. But so all you have to do is place this Google tracking, like Google Analytics tracking code on your website. It'll track those visits anonymously, and it automatically picks up UTM tracking parameters. So if you're familiar with UTM and you've been using UTM on those ads, it's actually storing all the UTM information progressively about that contact. So all of a sudden, you may see where that's going. You can find out attributions. You can see all the touches in the feed of how they're interacting with you. And Guy's going to talk about that in a little bit as well. How to use those UTMs. So we now know through the start of that journey, if you can remember that diagram from earlier, Tyson's sort of navigating them to a point to get a relationship connected with them, and then we're going to take it over from here. So we'll call this Dog Today Sign Up, and all we do is just paste the URL of the Instapage form and click Continue. And Autopilot will go and scan the Instapage site, find the form, identify the form fields in it. And so it says it's found 4 form fields, and it'll do its best job to match it up, but we can just visually eyeball this here. So we have first name and last name. All we're doing is just mapping these fields here into the database. So we'll say phone here, And then we click continue, and that's it. So now Autopilot will capture every form submission after I publish this journey from the form on that Dog Today website. And then we're going to say, we're going to send them an SMS, so we'll say hi, and we have this personalization variable in the product where you can click it and you can pull in any of the information off their profile, including custom fields. So if you have unique information you want to store about contacts in the database, you can obviously pull that information as well. So we'll say hi, first name, thanks for signing up, here is the download link, and you can imagine the rest. And then finally, we'll create a heads-up message here. So a heads-up message is very similar to creating email, and we'll call this message get verified because we really want them to verify. Now, heads-up messages can be targeted to a specific page in your application or on your website, so they could be on the you might only want this message to show on the verification page if it's nudging them towards verification, but we'll say any page here. And you can pick team members on your team, so all of your team members become available after sign up. And so the key to success here is we enforce personalization in these messages, so it has to come from someone on your team. You have to have a photo, you have to have your real information in here. And we feel like that starts to build a connection with your audience. So again, same personalization variable, same sort of metaphor here. Hi Mike, get verified now and order your first dog. And then we'll say get verified. Or maybe, hang on, to use Tyson's inside, verify me. We can try different buttons if we want. So we have the larger heads up, and this is what it'll look like before it comes out. And then we'll direct them to a website. I'm just going to do to Google because I don't have a landing page set up. But so that's what the heads up message will look like on the page. Again, it's just that step-by-step wizard to set it up. Now let's go set up our email. So we'll say dog, wait, I want Dog Today welcome. And I'll just show you what I've set up. Now, if some of you are working with Autopilot for the first time and you have existing email templates, our editor actually supports the uploading of any HTML template, so it uses them just like a file, so you can just upload them, and if they're with a compatible format like MailChimp, they'll just automatically be editable, which is really cool. And then, so again, same personalization variable. You'll see my focus on personalization here, so I'll use first name, get your first dog today. And I've got Michael Sharkey at Dog Today, so it's really familiar in the prompt name, who I am and what I'm about. And then I've actually built out this email, but this is just an example of a standard welcome email, and we have a whole bunch of templates in the product that you can just use that look like this. And so you can go in and obviously customize them, but the steps I want them to take are verifying their account, setting up their doggy preferences, and then sharing the puppy love. So these are the important steps of how to become a member of Dog Today. And of course, you get that same personalization variable everywhere, so you can rely on that data as you move through the system. So we'll publish the email out, and that's been added to our journey. And then remember, you'll recall on this step, we wanted to check the Dog Today, the first Dog Today welcome email. Based on how they interact with that, we're going to send them a second email. And again, a pretty basic example, but it gives you an idea of how we can change the journey. So this is our nurture path, because they haven't opened our email yet, so we keep wanting to remind them of great dog materials. And then our second email is this clicked email, and I want to show you the copy that I've used in these, just to give you an idea of how I've changed the journey here. So in this version, they're interacting. We're assuming they're verified in theory, and so it's your close to gorgeous puppies. We're using an image to really entice them. We're using a HTML email, but it's kind of plain text. So you're close, but now it's time to request your first puppy, and then we have a simple call to action email. And you remember Tyson talking about minimum viable pages. Really, this is about just a minimum viable email, single call to action. It's just one thing you need them to do based on how the journey's changed. Try and avoid trying to ask them to do 3 things in email. It's very unlikely they're going to do that. There's really one click-through event that's highly important there. So let's add our dog click page as well. So our journey is ready to go, and let me just select the right heads up message here. I don't actually remember what I called it now. Get verified. Okay, get verified. So that's ready to go. Now we have this feature I was actually speaking to someone about a little while ago, which is the request a review button. And so the first time people use Autopilot, sometimes they get a little bit scared because they've imported a database of like 100,000 contacts and they send their first email. And as a marketer, you always think, what if I accidentally set up this crazy journey that's going to send them tons of communications as well? So we have this request a review feature built in, and it's totally free. And so you fill it and you tell us what the objective of the journey is. You hit request review, it sends the materials to someone on our success team. They'll actually review it for you for free and tell you, give you some tips or tricks, or they'll say, you're a genius and it's good to go, and then you can go ahead and publish it, which is really great. The other thing is, obviously, you can do a lot more advanced things than I'm showing you today. So we have the capability to do A and B splits in different shapes. You can even distribute postcards in the mail. So you can upload postcards, personalize the back using personalization variables. So there's a whole ton of channels, and of course, if you use things like Segment or Salesforce, there's some more advanced shapes as well in there for you as well. So it looks very simple on the surface, but it can get very deep here. So let's publish out our journey, and then what we're going to do is just run through it and show you how this plays out. Now, of course, keeping in mind, the real key to think about when you're building out a welcome journey or an onboarding journey like we are here is sort of what are the key events that we need them to do. So in Dog Today's case, we need them to get verified. And if they don't verify it, we need to keep reminding them why they originally came to the landing page. So it's almost, if you think about retargeting, we're essentially doing somewhat of the same thing. We're just sending them frequent communications with relevant events that are very timely about why they wanted the companionship of the dog. The alternative is, after they're verified, if they never order their first dog, we really want to understand, have they or have they not ordered their first dog. So we would start to change the journey over time here, and we would do that with segmenting what we call a smart segment. So we'd actually do a lookup here and look up one of our different segments and say, do they belong to our has ordered their first dog or has not list. And I'm happy to sort of answer questions about that as we go. I just don't want to preemptively make any assumptions here. So we're going to head over to the activity feed, and as Tyson's actually been working on the page, the activity feed's sort of been telling us everything that's going on. We also build out this marketing funnel for you, so it gives you a good idea of how leads and conversions are flowing through the funnel there. So you can see that I just I visited. So we're going to do the send dog today form, and the mouse is not very friendly. So we can see here that the form submit comes through instantaneously, so you saw how easy that was to set up. So the lead's now captured into Autopilot, and I can actually click into my profile that's now been created for me. And I can see I get all of this information. We actually run this through a service called Full Contact, so we enrich the lead data for you as well. So you have things like LinkedIn profile information, Twitter. You'll often get title, company. It'll assign a lead owner. I'm connected to Salesforce here in my demo account. And it has a whole bunch of other information about me that I didn't really supply through the form. So we know a lot more about me now. And when we segment, we could say we want to see all the people in the software industry because we want to market to them and say, you really need a dog because it's a lonely life coding. That's why I got dogs. So here's our activity feed, and this account doesn't have any SMS credit, so I can be sent the SMS. But we can see that I've ended the Dog Today journey, so we can click in and then see that sort of playing out here in real time. And so you can see I've passed through the journey here, and in a minute that heads up message will show. So we're assuming they've sort of browsed through the website. So we've received the first email, we've gone into the signups list, we've been verified, we've been sent the SMS, and we can even just go into our signups list here, and you'll see I've been added to that list. So it's starting to profile me. And the whole idea being that, we don't want to let this lead get behind. We want them to verify, and we want them to have a good experience. So when you build out the journey past the form, really this is the relationship that you're building with the customer. So you need to think through the process that you would go through. And this is how we do it internally. We actually see it and go through our free trial and go, what would we want to know at this stage? And then we go and interview people and say, what would you want to know at this stage? And we try and curate the experience not only in our product, but by the communications we're sending, and then listening to the two, and looking for signals in our product to tell us more about how we should market to people. And we have many customers from a B2C environment as well using the product, and they're looking for, I ordered this, so I might be more likely to order this. We recently did a really great webinar with Simple Green Smoothies, which is like a New York Times bestseller book now, and they use Autopilot to send all of their smoothie courses. So you enroll in diets, and they slowly drip feed those courses. So you could think about offering this great content that Tyson talked about, signing up to a landing page, and it's like a free 2-week course, and that's sort of the content that initially hooks them at the top of the funnel. So it's, in our case, it might be a free course on lead nurturing, and so we slowly drip you content about that over time, and then we slowly nudge you at the end to maybe consider putting this into action in Autopilot. So these are just some of the ideas that you can do, and of course that guidebook's a great resource. We also have Flight School, which will fully train you up as well on how to do all these things. So at this point I'll stop and take any questions from the audience and about anything you would like to know.
Sorry, this is the first time I've really heard or looked at Autopilot. So was this completely replaced another autoresponder, where you can actually keep another autoresponder and have Autopilot communicate with it?
Yeah, so you could do that. It's one option. I mean, obviously, managing both systems to do the communications is hard, but a lot of the questions we get asked are around, especially around the sort of, I'm doing newsletters in MailChimp today, and I'm doing the occasional event-based email, but I really want to start to think in terms of the customer journey and nurture my leads in a much more refined way. So they'll generally replace it, but it's not to say you can't. I mean, we have hundreds of customers using a ton of different applications, and that's what we're really about as a company. We want you to go and use best of breed applications. We don't try and fight other great applications. I mean, Tyson has a team of absolute experts building the best landing page software in the world, so why would you go and buy an autoresponder email system where that's their core purpose, and then they add a really bad landing page feature in? So we want you to go and utilize the best technologies as well. So if you want to keep using autoresponder plus this, it's cool.
Well, my only concern between various autoresponders is just which emails are more likely to get through to customers. So I've heard, MailChimp, for example, doesn't have as good of a rate as being received by your subscribers as opposed to, say, Aweber.
Yeah, so there's two types of emails really that the industry's kind of categorized by them. There's really the concept of a marketing email, which is what MailChimp are doing, and they do, obviously, like Gmail and other services are very good at detecting them and slotting them in the tab. But we do have this feature, which is, and this is enforced pretty heavily in what we do, but you can turn the email into a transactional email, and the transactional email is when, after you sign up, if it's really critical information that you need to be delivered, a transactional email has a higher chance of getting through. However, we have stringent security to sort of make sure you don't send marketing emails as transactional, because that would break some bad laws.
Mike? Yeah, there are services where you could take your email and plop it in, like HTML email, and it'll tell your score, like 8 out of 10, right, 3 out of 10. If it's like an 8 and up, it's going to go through no matter what you use. Okay. Like, they don't want to see links and certain words cut together, like buy now, free trial, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There are, I'm only repeating this because the camera can't hear you, kind of a thing. But there are a number of free services where you can plug the email in and pre-send it to, and it'll give you a score. That's a really good point. But I think that if you're establishing a relationship with a customer and you're truly not bombarding them with content, that's why I talk about really simplistic emails. The deliverability rates you see will be pretty damn high. I mean, that's the business we're in, so it's pretty important.
I just wanted to make one comment on that. If you are going to keep like two systems, we actually do this ourselves. Well, first of all, our event-based notifications get a way higher open rate, but with Instapage, you can connect to multiple services simultaneously. So if you are going to send out like an email promotion, it's more just like a newsletter through MailChimp, for example, and then do your event-based relevant kind of email notifications and heads up and stuff, you can use Instapage to send them to two services or multiple services simultaneously.
Yeah, that's another really good way. So you could just split it up and send leads either way. Cool. Anyone else? Sweet. Oh yeah, sure.
So for the form submitted, that sort of like initial circle, can you put multiple things there? Like, can you like layer?
Yeah. So you could, in theory, you can do. It really works the way you think it should. So say you wanted to like inject some people here, you could do that. The triggers can be used really anywhere to start injecting people in. But if you wanted to have it over here and also key in or start the journey, you could do that as well. Yeah. So it's really, I mean, I think the beauty of it is you can, and a lot of people. I personally, this is why I like it because I'm highly visual, is I just sketch out my marketing plan after we build a landing page or a call to action, or I'm doing an event on Eventbrite, and I'll just build out the whole part, and then I set and forget, and I don't have to worry. Like, I know the reminder's going to go out a few hours before the event. I know they're going to get an SMS. I know, and it's just taken care of. And then at the end of the event, I'll analyze the performance and see how I can do better, or I'll do a split test and see, did one email perform better than the other, and take that into account for my next event. So I think what Tyson said is you don't, I think the key to success is honestly just using these technologies that are available to get the most value out of all of the money you're spending on marketing. I mean, we spend a great deal of time and money on our ads and attracting people in our content, but a lot of us fail once we get someone to convert. We really don't know what to do. And the majority of companies, I'm sure everyone's experienced it, especially in the Bay Area, they'll just send you these cold emails and hound you over and over again to get your attention. But I think if you establish a value-based relationship with them, it's likely you can have a better inbound relationship, which is good.
Can you create segments inside the email? When they get the email, they click this, it goes on this record.
Yeah, you totally can. So you can do that by specific links. You can do it by UTM parameters as well. So some people, some of our really advanced users will actually in the email have like a yes/no button, and they'll have a UTM set up on the two buttons, and then based on the response, they'll like update a field in the record to start learning or progressively profiling that customer through email. So they'll just ask them a question like, are you interested in marketing automation? Yes, no. You hit yes. It updates a field, interested, yes, and then they'll start to profile and segment the journey differently based on that. So, yeah. Cool. Okay, so if you have been playing along, we said we put that landing page up again. So you can go to instapage.com/event and submit your landing pages, and we'll be judging them a little bit later on. And if you create a journey behind that as well, we'll automatically link your Autopilot account with the email you used to fill in that form to figure out its use. So a little bit of magic. So I'm going to hand over to Guy now, who's going to talk about how Autopilot uses Autopilot to grow.